Welcome to Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World. We are giving you choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. I'm Richard Dugan, your host, and we're here to give you choices and knowledge of those choices, as I just mentioned, as well as looking for those new ways of living. And one of those new ways of living, and it sounds strange that I would say it's new, only because people haven't really thought about it. And we're talking about it and have been for the past few weeks with LUMARI, who has shared with us this wonderful book called Living Inspired with LUMARI. LUMARI, welcome back to our special edition of Tell Me Your Story. And this is the final edition, if you will, of this book. This is the final podcast and program for Living Inspired with LUMARI. Thank you for sharing this with us and for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a joy and an honor to be here and to share inspiration.
Well, we have some interesting things to pass on to you folks, and we're going to start today with the final section, if you will, called Inspired Action. So let's explore inspired action and basically how are you going to carry this message into your life? You're also a factor in how this inspiration gets out into the world relies on you. The inspiration, the creative expression or conversation of the universe in the form of inspiration has basically converged in your life. You have the freedom, innovation, and creativity to express it. And I'll share more in a moment, but let's talk a little bit about this whole aspect of our part in taking inspired action, LUMARI.
Well, I think what's really fabulous, when we talk about inspiration, there's so many different levels to it that most people just don't understand how big it actually is. So, and we've been talking about this for weeks now. Some people look at it like it's a private connection, which in one way it is, because inspiration is the divine talking to you in the ways that you understand, which would mean it could be the inspiration for a book, it could be the inspiration for art, it could be the inspiration for doing things differently in your life, and that's a conversation. The divine, I like to say, she says, "Hello, darling, pay attention."
Mm-hmm.
And when we're looking at that, it makes it very personal. And yet, once you're living inspired and you're expressing that inspiration, it goes beyond the personal. It's still personal. It's still coming from you. And it moves beyond a personal creative expression, and it goes into the universe. It's a form of inspiration that goes beyond you, and now it creates a whole other thing. It's creativity, it's innovation, it's new ways of expression. It's things that we may not have even thought of before. And because we got tapped on the shoulder by the divine, all of a sudden new things are coming into being that really do change the world. They change our lives, they change the lives of people around us, and they change the world.
And that's what we are really all about these days. And interestingly enough, we're coming upon, for me, 17 years doing this program and wanting to change the world. Change the world for the better for everyone. And I'm hoping that folks understand that message. And this is nothing that's being foisted upon anybody. We're wanting everyone to be involved in this transformation. It's we've got a lot of things that are going on in the world today, but locally as well as nationally and internationally. We've seen some interesting changes. And I don't know if this is important to bring up or not, LUMARI, but there were some rather significant processes that went on in two countries in Europe just in the last few days. I don't know if that's a sign of the times, or if that's just localized to those particular countries and their transition from, one side to the other, so to speak, of the aisle, and whether that is part of the taking inspired action to say, look, we want something different, we want something more, and so forth. And I guess the only way that I could look at things of that nature is to say, well, if this isn't something we've done before and we're doing something brand new, this can be very exciting because we have no idea how this is going to, how this is really going to turn out in the coming days, weeks, months, and years.
Well, and I think it's very important with changes that we have. So we are wanting, I'll say it that way, we are wanting significant change that appreciates each individual and creates a global community that's in harmony, in peace, in health, protecting the planet, all of those things. That's what most of us want. We want to be able to appreciate all the differences and have a harmony, a world of harmony. And when we look at the changes, those are the changes we want. And sometimes we have to really take action to make sure that those things happen. Because a lot of the conversations that don't want us to change, that want us to fall back in very ancient old patterns that don't serve all of humanity, only serve some of humanity, those are controlling. Those are not inspired. You don't wake up every morning and go, yay, nobody's eating today. There's no food on the planet. Yeah, no, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning and you go, oh, I know that this particular mineral is making my land much more fertile. I need to get the word out. Or I need to invent something. That's the inspired part of it also. I need to invent something that is going to help people, and then ... have more food. Protect, obviously, it would be nice to know that there was a non-toxic way to stop fires. Then it would be, to start figuring out new ways that we can clean up the ocean and not put more stuff into it. We can go on and on about all of those things.
Sure.
That we have schools that really support and inspire our kids, all levels of kids, and not just looking at the young people, but like, what if everybody could shift into that global healing, inspired perception and go, oh, wow, yeah, we should have people over 60 mentoring kindergarten kids to see what they can create to bridge all the ages so we don't have ageism back and forth, whichever way it goes. Because some people underestimate the brilliance of young kids, and some people underestimate the competence of older people. And, give me a break. Those judgments are not inspired. They're limited. And the things that are so exciting is you really can see, especially now that we have so much media. I'm not talking about news. We have so much media. You can see kids that are 6-year-old play drums better than any jazz drummer you ever saw. And they're 6. They can riff on a rock guitar that is amazing. They can do ballet and skating and Olympic sports and painting and all of these things. That's inspiration. They listen. And we are here with Inspired Actions. We are here to support that. And for each of us individually, I'm talking about it on one aspect in a global way, right? But what if everybody around you was inspired?
Yeah.
I mean, just waking up and going, whoa, isn't this cool? I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ways of saying it.
Sure. No.
wow, what am I going to do today? Not, oh, did I finish this? Did I clean this? Right? But like, wow, I'm going to be open to receive inspiration from the universe, and I'm going to act on it. I'm going to take inspired actions and go there. And Richard, I have a whole thing about inspired actions that I'm going to be launching later on this year. So everybody who's here, go to LUMARI.com and say, hey, LUMARI, whatever you're doing, I want to play.
No, seriously, you should. Absolutely. Folks, really.
It's going to be a blast. I have so many different things to engage people that I'm opening it up in a whole new way. But again, speaking about inspiration, there was one thing that blew me away the other day that I saw. Okay, 19-year-old male, right? So I don't necessarily want to call him a boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He invented a talking glove so that people who did sign language, because they can't hear and they don't always speak well, could do sign language with this glove, and the glove would actually say what the sign language was signing.
Wow. That is wild.
19.
That is wild. But
yeah.
I am not surprised that is something that's now available or that's being made available. I mean, it's almost as if, well, it's about time. We've got the technologies. What's the deal? You know?
Well, on the one hand, I agree with you. I thought about it and I said, oh, that makes so much. I'm not really a tech person, but I'm like, that makes so much sense. And then I'm sitting there going, okay. Inspiration tapped this 19-year-old on the shoulder and said, they're using their hands. What if you ... And he figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
That changes, I mean, for people who can't hear, and obviously everybody also knows that has a speaking impairment with it as well, that all of a sudden there's no barrier in their communication. I mean, I have clients who are hearing impaired, and we usually have a translator who, I say one thing, it goes back and forth, and that's how we do our sessions. Now, in person, these people could be doing speeches.
Mm-hmm.
They could be doing all sorts of things. Inspiration tapped this person on the shoulder, and at 19 years old, he created a completely new format and changed the lives of I don't know how many millions of people.
That is so cool. That really is. And the thing that I find so fascinating about it is the fact that I come from a family that did not have any hearing issues. My father did, of course, in his later years, but that was due to old age. But had vision issues. And when my visions started to be affected by cataracts back when I was, 35? Yeah, when I was 35 years old of age, I went to my ophthalmologist, and we did a lens implant. Well, about 2 or 3 years earlier, when I was trying to get a driver's license just to drive a moped, right? I ran into so much resistance, I just gave up. I said, you know what? I'm not the victim here. Okay, I'm not playing the victim. I'm letting it go. Okay? Let's not waste any more energy on it. If I'm 65 and bicycling everywhere, so much the better. I'll be healthier, and so on and so forth. Right. And the next thing I knew, the universe opened up that door and said, hey, guess what? Yeah, you got that stuff growing inside your eye again, the cataract material. However, we got something for you. Boom. And the next thing I know, I'm now driving cars and driving a car. So that is, and that's that's only the half of it, because then I have two younger sisters and they both wanted to drive too. My second youngest, she and her husband, they liked to RV all over the country. And I know they've got a list of the states that they've traveled to, and it's very, very high. I don't know that it's 50 or even 48, but it's very high. Well, she has had the same visual issues that I had, I think. I think they were pretty much similar. But she could wear a pair of glasses that would allow her to drive an RV? Are you kidding me? And then I found out that my youngest sister, same kind of situation in terms of being able to see it to drive, was wearing, I don't know if they were goggles or I don't know what the technology was, but all I know is someone out there was inspired to create these devices for them to be able to maybe fulfill a dream they had also had of driving. And then when I moved here to Santa Barbara, I met people who took me up flying to where I have several hours in a flight log that could be used towards a pilot's license. Now go figure that one out.
See, but this is the thing, and the reason that I'm really so excited about Living Inspired, and again, it's awakening, revelation, and transformation, is that Living Inspired is active inspiration. So it's not just a cool thing. It is you receive that inspiration and you take action. You let it come to you. You let it reveal things to you, and then you become transformed. And when you bring your inspiration into the world, that reverberates. It resonates. It changes things. And so it isn't, like I said, I was blown away by that invention. And the other thing is, like, it can be anything. It can be anything. So yes, we know art, we know music, we know building techniques, we know inventions. All of those things come from inspiration.
Yeah.
So does recognizing that the people across the street have not come out of their house for a while, and maybe you ought to go see what's happening. That people might need a ride to school. That the kids in the neighborhood need something fun to do, so you create your own art classes that have nothing to do with school. Whatever it is, there's so many different things. I'm very fortunate that I had a family that was like crazy community driven. So lots of different things they did, whether it was dances, whether it was art and music that they share with people, whether it was, raising money for whatever, because they raise money for a lot of things. But it's like they were inspired to do it. It's like, oh, whoa, they need that? Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
That's inspiration. And really and truly, when you're resonating with that high frequency and you take action, you do change the world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be the huge thing. It doesn't need to be the World Federation of whatever. It can be. And it can be that brilliant, invention. And it can be something really simple that makes a difference. Because guess what? The person who decided that they needed ramps for wheelchairs, it was one person going, wait a minute, this doesn't work. You know what we should do? That has changed our society and given access to people that wouldn't be able to go in and out of buildings.
Exactly.
They couldn't, actually.
And here's I don't necessarily say this is a dichotomy per se, folks, but it's not about actions you take. It's about changes that you make. And when you present the changes that you make, you clearly see your transformation. And then the actions that you take because of this transformation will bring you forward to greater purpose and inspiration. And how you hold yourself, how you hold this new wisdom will guide how you share it. And that's where art comes in, that you've talked about many times, the awakening, revelation, and transformation. Shift your energy and your perspective, and you can let the art of inspiration be your guide and follow the energy and be fully responsive to your inner compass. That's why inspiration came to you exactly in this way. I was thinking about, as you were describing, certainly the accessibility part for others. I remember, and this goes back to the 1980s, and the equipment that I had to work with, which is where I came up with the philosophy or the phrase, work with what you have until you get what you want. And this was before computers. And I was working with the equipment, and I was playing around doing this, that, and the other thing with the sound. And I came up with this different kind of sound for the voice. Well, it was maybe 5 or 6 years later when I got into computers and the software I was using that I found a filter, we'll call it, for the voice. And I'm going, that sounds an awful lot like what I had, and I'll use the term discovered because I didn't invent it, but I did discover it. And I'm going, wow, I discovered that long before I ever knew what the heck it was called. And that was pretty cool. And it's sometimes that will happen where we will be inspired and we will do something, we will create something that is primitive, okay, but it's sort of like we're not the only ones out here who are, say, thinking of these things. You've heard of the 100th monkey theory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same concept, and I just think that okay, so I didn't create it. It's not my invention. But I found a way to create it before whoever did actually create it in code on the computer. And I'm sure there was probably an analog sound machine or what have you that would process sounds with that effect. But it was just fascinating to me. And that also was true, too, when one of our engineers was installing a turntable. And he miswired it to where the vocals, the lead vocals, were way off in the background. And I said, there's something wrong. He said, oh, I know what I did. And they call that out of phase. Well, guess what? That taught me, there's a way to create a sing-along track, kind of like karaoke. I mean, the vocal's going to be way in the back, but that's perfect because then my voice gets to be in the front. But I have all the instrumentation. Again, another thing that I didn't create, but I did discover it. So that's, to me, the fascinating aspect.
Following it, yes. You're following the inspiration. And it's like, so this is really, really good because some people think that inspiration is like you have something new, you invent it, it's yours, boom, bum, 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 right? But inspiration is so much more than that. Now, I want to say we have to honor all the people who actually do invent or create or sing something and honor the fact that it's theirs. So I want to say that because that's really important because in our world sometimes people, let me use the word abscond with things.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily theirs. But beyond that, you can be jumping in the middle of something like you're talking about. Okay, now when we look at music and we look at the music studios and how many different apps and ways they have to change the sound and put it in and out and everything else, well, that was a journey. And in the middle of that journey, while all the electronics were going on, people had ideas and said, let's do this, let's do this. So they became part of that phase, just like whatever a computer looked like when they first started it. I don't think that they would have imagined that you could do everything like that on your phone.
Yeah. I mean,
But
strangely
the
enough,
journey of
right,
inspiration.
right up to launching a rocket if you wanted to.
Well, the journey of inspiration, that's the thing. And what's really fascinating about it is that the inspiration is about the changes that you make. It is about how you play, how you're inside it, and how you participate. And so that's why you want to participate and follow your inner compass when you are inspired. And engaging with your inspiration turbocharges your energy, your ideas, and your life. So this inspiration like blasts you forward, and it carries this beautiful energy, and it helps your ideas grow, and you get to participate in many different ways. And a lot of inspiration ends up becoming collaborative.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when we look at so many of the things in the world, even if the person had the idea, we look at Einstein, we look at Edison, those are the big inventors. We have more now, but we look at those people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, they had the idea, but they didn't build the car.
Yeah.
They had the idea and they got people together, and then there was a team that did it.
Right.
There's all sorts of things that we have in our world that a team does and artists do, and I'm saying all of these things because I want people to understand that we have limitations and judgments about what inspiration is, and when we do, we can't fully participate with the inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree with you more on all of that. And then there's one element that I think that we need to come to terms with in terms of collaboration is, and this is a beautiful thing that I learned from the Baha'i faith when I was a member for about a year and a half back in the 90s. And they have these 9-member councils at all the different levels along the way, all the way up to the international. I can't remember the name of the group, but it's a group of 9 members of the faith. And what's intriguing about it is that you do not run for these offices. You do not campaign, okay? But you are elected. And your campaign, if you want to put it this way, your campaign is the way people see you living your life. Both amongst the faithful, if you will, as well as in your day-to-day work and play, etc., etc. And then you are selected, and you can choose to decline, but it's usually you accept that for the period of time. But here's what's interesting. When they are presented with an issue, for example, I would go to them and say, I have this issue that I need resolved, and I would really appreciate the council's help on this. They say, okay, so tell us what it is, and then we'll deliberate and so forth. And so I'll share, and then I'll leave, and they will sit and discuss it. And each person might present, not each of them, but some of them will present their solution. But the process is this, that when you present your solution as a member of this council, that is no longer yours. It now belongs to the collective, the 9. It belongs to the council. And yes, they will vote on it, and it might go 5-4, 6-3, 7-2, 8-1, 9, right. But if let's say you're in the minority, and yet it still passes, it's also the agreement is that once it is passed, you accept it. There is no dissent. It's like with the Supreme Court. You know how you'll have the majority statement, and then you'll have the minority statement. There is no minority statement. You accept the ruling of the council. It now is yours as well. As a member of the body, it's now yours.
Right.
And then
Well,
they draw you back in, and they say, "Here's what we come up with, and if this doesn't work, come back and we'll revisit it." So to me, it's the ego that needs to be sort of released in that regard when it comes to these kinds of collaborations. That, hey, I'm working with a team here, and we're trying to create something that's going to make the world better, and so forth and so on.
well, and I think when we look at it, when we look at the collaboration, we look at teamwork, we look at, organizations and communities and things like that. The conversation that gets misguided when we're talking about this is that the highest ethics should be present. So we're in a world, and this is not news to anybody, where some ethics don't matter to people as long as they win. And other people, it's like, no, the ethics matter. Even if we don't win, if we keep those ethics, we will change everything for the better anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to be able to, with inspiration, you want to know that part of, I know there's other words for ethics, but that's the one I'm going to use. You want to know that you don't want to hurt people. You don't want to mess people up. You don't want to lie, cheat, steal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't want to hurt people. You don't want to hurt our universe. You want to make things better and exciting and beautiful and happy and have people in the world fulfilled and be able to sustain their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have a lot of more descriptions, so could you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Sure.
So when you're looking at inspiration and you're looking at community and you're looking at creating from inspiration, you want to be able to look at it like from that perspective, because we have the contrast here in our world, in our country, but also in the whole world, where people are willing to have no ethics so that they can win, and they feel like winning is like the power.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like one of those things that I don't understand, because if anybody did that in basketball, people would be freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
If you just went in and you were in the championship, right, and somebody like tackled the guy who was going to make a shot, right?
Yeah.
People would not be happy. That's not how you play the game.
No.
Right?
No. You're right.
Those kind of things. So with inspiration, it opens your heart. It opens your soul. It opens your being. And when you have those kind of ethics, what you're creating changes the world in ways that 20 years from now we might never have expected. Because when we're looking at the things, I mean, years ago, people were looking at painted murals in neighborhoods that weren't the happiest neighborhoods, and they were looking at it like it was graffiti. Not anymore. Now, when you go into a neighborhood and you see one of those murals, that's art.
Yeah.
Completely different idea. It changes the way you see things. And with inspiration, with that ability, see, the thing is, what's really crazy, marvelous, exciting, and beautiful, we all can be inspired.
Mm-hmm.
We all can live inspired.
Yeah. It's not exclusive to any one person or individual, what have you. It's available to all of us. We just have to open ourselves up to that, and we've talked about that before, and how important that is to be opened to the process of inspiration. And boy, it can make all the difference in the world. I know that dealing just with the day-to-day things of life, it's sometimes it's quite a challenge to stay focused on what's really important and so forth. I mean, I know that even as you and I are speaking, and of course we don't know at the time that people are hearing this what's happening, but there's stuff going on here in the town and the area in which I live, and that it's a little unnerving, because you're hoping that it gets resolved, but
Right.
you don't know. And it's like, I'm going to go to a psychic, and the psychic will tell me just exactly what's going to happen. And it's like, no, that isn't going to happen either, because at every single moment of time, things are changing and shifting. And so what they tell you now in 10 minutes may not be the truth. And so that's when we have to go inside, and we have to, because there was a reference earlier to that internal compass, internal compass that directs you, that tells you that, you have that gut feeling, if you will. And that's really important to listen to too, isn't it?
Well, it is. And it's more, so most people pay attention to the gut feeling because it's very primal. But your inspiration can come as a blast to your mental higher soul psyche. It can come as a shift, a shiver in your energy. It can come as something that just lights you up. And it can come as like a big aha moment, and not necessarily, have a gut reaction, but actually have a delight reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're sitting there rubbing your hands and giggling because it's so cool you can't even believe it. And all of these different things we get to play, that we can receive guidance and information and inspiration all different ways. And hey, psychics are good. And so you go to a psychic, if you're going to somebody who actually is psychic, they are receiving divine guidance. Some of us might call that inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
They're receiving divine guidance because you asked them to receive it for you. Now, the same way that you can look at the divine and go, oh, I really want to change my life right now. I need to be inspired. Will you guide me? And then you pay attention. You receive the guidance. You let it be a revelation. You take action. The transformation happens. And ultimately, you're changing the world, you're changing yourself, and you're having an amazingly good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's also rather interesting for me because, and this has to do, obviously, with the events that are happening here on the Central Coast. I remember when my wife and I were evacuated back in 2017. It seems like forever ago. And initially there was the quick movement and the shifting and the doing this and that and the other thing. But once we got to a place where we could stop, let the energy settle, calm ourselves, I actually started to feel like, oh, this is a different kind of vacation. I call it a staycation, but still. But it was like, this is different. This is cool. I like this. This is fun. Even though we had no way of knowing the outcome up where our home was, it was more like, okay, at that time, we've got all the bases covered. Everything's fine. And we just have to wait it out and see where the universe is choosing to send us next. And thank goodness it sent us back home again. We're in the same kind of a situation, only this is prior to being evacuated, where we're sitting here going, okay, what's going to happen next? Are these wonderful first responders going to be able to get a handle on all of this, just like in all of the other communities where, and you've experienced this with there in New Mexico. You just sit there and you go, okay, take a breath, all right, and if everything is going to be wiped out, then there's nothing I can do about it anyway, and at least we are safe. At least we are secure, and stuff is just stuff. So.
Well, and the thing when you're looking at inspiration, because we're not really looking at like horrific things to inspire us.
Sure.
When you're looking at inspiration in your life, you want to be able to be open to what is revealing itself to you. Mm-hmm. That's why I call it the art, awakening, revelation, and transformation. So awakening means that all of a sudden you're noticing something. The light is coming, the energy is coming, The revelation is, what is the universe showing you? What is opening up for you? And in any situation, we can play there.
Mm-hmm.
We can look at it, and instead of looking at it in confusion, we can ask questions. I love questions. I think questions are the best things we invented. You know, like, and so when you're looking at that revelation, because transformation means you need to take a step. So you can ask yourself, what can I do right now to take that next step? So when inspiration comes to you, and this was, you know, my humorous reason for writing the book. I've said it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people don't honor and appreciate what inspiration really is.
Yeah.
Most people let it fly.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that television commercial that says,
"Oh yeah,
pork,
mm-hmm.
be inspired," really, it was like one of those, psychic spiritual inner tantrums. Like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
The divine is calling you when you have inspiration. It's not a recipe commercial.
Right. Well,
And so what can you do? What is the next step that you can take when you feel that coming to you?
Right. Well, one of the things I'm going to run through real quickly, because we are just about out of time, but you have a poem you're going to share with us, and I'm going to share, folks, quickly, some questions that you need to ask yourself. What can I do right now to take that next step that Lumari's talking about? What can I do right now to invite inspiration into my life? We've talked about that, of course. And what can I do right now to take the actions and enlightenment my path, that enlighten my path of inspiration, exploration, and contribution? And will I take one step right now towards living inspired? And you are going to share with us as we wrap things up. The end is only the beginning. I am the dance of the moon.
Yes. I am the dance of the moon, spinning dark shadows against the light. The tear that drips from my eye casts pools that move the tides of the ocean and the hearts to rhythms beyond the meaning of mortality. As you spread your wings, you fly to me, the warmth of my watchfulness. I am the keeper of the dark. The secrets of your soul nestle safely within my craters, like nests for the eggs of your dreams, babies protected by twigs and mud. I am the reclaimer of aspiration. Each night I circle the skies, scooping up the hopes beyond reach, breathing light into the distance, calling the whispers to my breath, holding the prayers to my heart where they wait. These are my secrets, to dance the rhythm of immortality, to guard the secrets of being, to reclaim the hopes of the human heart, and to hold this sacred trust until the exalted dreams are fulfilled, or until they are dreams no more. Then together we will spin into the darkness of a greater light to inspire the universe once again.
And folks, that is going to bring to a close this edition of Tell Me Your Story and bring to a conclusion this in-depth look at Living Inspired with Lumari, available through lumari.com. Don't forget about the free gift, which is the meditation, Sacred Space meditation. You can find that meditation at lumari.com/sacred space, and we hope that you will. And Lumari, thank you once again for being here, and we will continue our series next week. And folks, I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be doing next week. Thank you, Lumari.
Oh, thank you, my dear, and thank you, everyone. So many blessings all the way around and back again.
And that wraps up this edition of Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World. We are giving you choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. We are here on Sundays at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., Monday mornings at 1 a.m., and Wednesdays with this special edition of Tell Me Your Story, as well as Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m. And we hope that you will join us for all of those. And we also ask that if you can go to YouTube, you can watch these programs as well. We also hope that you can support the work that we are doing. And if you can, go to PayPal and put in Richard at richarddugan.com. And until our next broadcast, podcast, videocast, love to Lal. Jeanette, I am still listening. Dad, continue to be happy. Smokey, I'll see you on the other side. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.